Access Queries has what's called a top values feature that allows you to take the topmost or conversely the bottommost values within a numerical field. So for example, if I want to find out who my top 5 customers are when it comes to selling in books, I can do that by first of all setting up my query here. And I got my book sales query in Design View with my tables. So before I get started, let me give you a sneak peek. Up here on the Design tab, it's Related Contextual tab to the Design View here on the Query Setup group. You have this little drop down arrow. It's called the Top Values feature, and it gives you an explanation. It just says, look, you can take the topmost or bottommost values. When you click on the drop down arrow, you can only select the topmost 5 or bottommost 5 values, top 25, or you can do it by percentage. So what I'd like to do is take the top 5 customers that have purchased the most books or we made the most sales to. I'll click off on a blank area first and start out with the basics. First of all, I wanted to be able to add my customer's name here by double-clicking it from the table, adding it down below to the grid. I want that my query, so I can identify which customer we sold the most books to, and the quantity of books sold, or books sold here, is in the book sales table. Double-click on that. And then before I pick my top 5, let's go ahead and hit the Run button. And there we go, we have the customer name and how many books they purchased. Well, in and of itself, it's not going to be helpful because look how many times the customer name is listed here. And the reason being is because for each time that Happy Town Playworld has purchased a book, it's been under a different order ID or transaction date. In fact, if I go back to my Design View, double click on the order ID, and then click the Run button again, you can see it more clearly here that this is a different order ID or different date of transaction for the 7 books they purchased, as opposed to another one down here which has a different order ID, and so on. So back to my Design View, let me go ahead and hover over that gray little bar at the top of this field here and click so I can select the whole column, hit the delete key to get rid of it. And in order for me to get the sum of all the books that have been sold by a customer, the first thing I need to do is come up here in the Show Hide group and click on the totals. When I click on it, it adds a totals row down below. And it has 2 purposes or 2 functions. First of all, it wants to, by default, group all the customer names together and group all the books was sold together. It doesn't make sense to have both. It's one or the other. So I want to group them all by the customer name, so I'll leave that alone, group by. But this one, you either leave it by group by or you have to select another option. Well, I want the sum total of all the books sold that will be grouped by the customers. Remember how I have the customers Happy Town Playworld listed about 25 times? Why don't I group them all together under one name here and then give me the total sum of all those sales grouped under one name that we made to Happy Town Playworld. So let's check that out. Let me click on the Run button, and there we go. Happy Town Playworld here, the total sales that have been made, and it grouped all the names together, even though they're under different order IDs or different transaction dates. It grouped them all together and gave me the total of 75 in sales to Happy Town Playworld. Now instead of eyeballing this and going, I wonder which one's the top 5, or let me go ahead and click on the drop down arrow and let me sort ascending A to Z, and then go down and say, okay, the top 5 are down here at the bottom because they're the most that we sold the books to, Roadsters, Fleur, Catering, and so on. Instead of doing that, let me come up here in the Sort and Filter group and click on the Clear All Sorts, go back to my Design View. After I go ahead and I group these and I have an actual field to give me the totals, I can come up here in the Query Setup, click on the top values, and give me the top 5. It's going to give me the top 5, but I'm going to run into a problem here because when I click on the Run button, I know this isn't the top 5 here when it comes to the total books, as we just saw with when we did our sorting. So I need to go back to the Design View and say I want this done descending. Because remember, ascending is from smallest to largest, and we want the largest numbers to smallest. In fact, we want the top 5 of those larger numbers. So that's why I chose to go descending first, because when you think numerically, descending are the larger numbers, and ascending start with the smaller numbers. So I'll go ahead and click on the Run button, and I get it. The top larger numbers, or the top 5, descending, beginning with 935 books we sold to Roadsters. And of course, if I'm finished with this, I can go back to my Design View and say, don't show me the top 5, show me all of them, and then it's descending. I can click on the Run button, there we go. Larger numbers descending first to smallest, or I can do ascending, which will be the smaller numbers first to the larger numbers down below. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.